So Marvel rebranded Thunderbolts as the New Avengers and literally turned a word-of-mouth plot twist into a full-fledged marketing stunt, which completely changes the way people will watch this movie. And the crazy thing is, you can do the same thing for your film or story strategy without a multi-million-dollar budget. Welcome to Film Club. Today we're going to break down this weird Avengers film with some hot takes on the filmmaking, tricks from the story, and go behind the scenes of our award-winning superhero film Eraser, and how you can surprise audiences and film festivals with your movie just by thinking ahead. But before we dive in, is this new Avengers film even any good? It's actually pretty good, and it feels like a breath of fresh air for Marvel films and even for the comic book genre. The story sets the tone right away with a crazy, dark custom Marvel logo where everything drops into shadow, into darkness, and then there's a great action sequence with Yelena jumping off a building, doing espionage, so we know exactly the kind of film we're going to watch, and we know it's probably going to be a little bit different than we're used to. But I was really worried that this movie was going to be super hard to sit through because the marketing had this weird indie slacker vibe to it, and Elena's starting the film by saying she's bored and she wants to have a public-facing job. I'm like, how is this supposed to work? But when she gets stuck in the bunker with the other characters and they're all basically attacking each other on mission, and then they have to get out together before they get lit on fire, it becomes a survival story. And then when they go after Valentina to figure out why Valentina was trying to take them all out, it becomes a revenge story. And then after building a relationship with Bob and Bob turning into Sentry and getting shot into space, they all want to figure out what happened to Bob and take care of Bob. So it's about protecting your friends and protecting your loved ones. The movie works on a lot of compelling levels. And it's interesting to see how Marvel actually seems to be taking mental health kind of seriously, even putting out bizarre videos like Deep Breathing with Wolverine and Meditation Time with Daredevil. It'll be interesting to see how this affects Hollywood and the kind of stories we get over the coming years. But even if you're not a fan of the story, the acting in this film is still really good. Florence Pugh, Lewis Pullman, and pretty much the entire ensemble cast gives a really good performance. And the movie does an interesting choice of not relying too much on flashback to visualize their pain or their tragic backstory, so it puts it on the audience to pay attention to the subtext, dialogue, interplay of the characters to get a sense of their struggles, which was a really bold move. But film is still a visual medium, so it couldn't hurt to have a little bit more visual contextualization to what's going on with these characters. Like when Bucky's talking to Valentina's assistant and saying there's a difference between manipulation and being able to choose your mission, it would have been so cool to see some glimpses into his past from Captain America the Winter Soldier or Civil War, but we don't really get any of that. And maybe that's because we're 36 films deep and they didn't want to spend time on it, but it was still an interesting choice. But one thing the film does do strong visually is its cinematography, where it has this interesting blend of artistic, bold looks with something you would expect from a Marvel film, and it almost feels like the perfect balance of like Avengers Infinity War meets Matt Reeves as the Batman without being too strong in any one direction. The editing of this film is also great. It's a 2-hour and 6-minute movie, but it felt like it was an hour long. Everything moved from beginning to end, the pacing, nothing was distracting from top to bottom. The film's creativity really shines in how it visualizes its themes beyond this dark prison of the void. So the characters are literally leaning on each other as they crawl out of this hole that they found themselves in, and when they're all tied up, they each have different bands, kind of representing that they all have their own struggles, and yet they're all struggling together. Or the powerful theme of what it means to see the good in someone else when they don't see it in themselves, having understanding and empathy to help those around us fight off the darkness that's holding us back. We could probably all use a friend like that, or be a friend like that to someone else who needs someone to walk alongside them as they fight their battles. And if this video has been helpful or inspirational so far, go ahead and clap the like button so we can help other filmmakers, storytellers, and new friends like you. But really, this movie almost seems to break superhero genre conventions by not giving us a real final battle. But I think that's where the original branding of this film actually works in service of the story, because it's setting our expectations up for something a little bit different. Audiences weren't expecting an Avengers-style ending because it wasn't called The Avengers in the first place, so they could get away with a more emotional, personal, and intimate ending that actually worked. We did something similar here in Japan with our fantasy drama Eraser by not calling it a superhero film. And it's also a faith-based film, but we didn't mention that either. We just wanted the movie and its themes to speak for itself. But since Eraser is still an undercover comic book film, we just took some additional photos and secretly prepared an alternate comic-style press kit to send to festivals if they selected our film, and that worked great. And it was really just a matter of planning ahead. And yes, if you're a low-budget or no-budget filmmaker like us, just make your press kit and poster shoots part of your production schedule while the actors are ready. It will save you so much time and stress. But really, do you think Marvel actually changed their mind a few days into opening weekend and had giant billboards changed, or digital branding flipped, or the Winter Soldier walking into bus stops to change out posters? No, this was all part of a plan. This was an awesome strategy, and you can have an awesome plan and strategy for your film. But you can have fun with it too, like Black Mirror does, and get into your genre, your specific style, and creative voice. You would be amazed what's already hiding inside your story. But before you get the Winter Soldier to switch out posters on your next big blockbuster, you're going to want to check out this video to step up your storytelling and take your cinematic game to the next level.